Welcome to the Power Platform Show. Thanks for joining me today. I hope today's guest inspires and educates you on the possibilities of the Microsoft Power Platform. Now, let's get on with the show. Today's guest is from Santa Cruz, Tenerife, in the Canary Islands, Spain. Some would call paradise. He's a data and AI manager. You can find links to his bio and socials in the show notes for this episode. Welcome to the show, Eickhel.
Hey, Mark, how are you? I'm really glad to be here.
So good to be here, and what a great topic to talk about. Last time you were on the show was episode 186. You're on the MVP show, and just to give you an idea, I'm currently publishing episode 680-odd. So that was a very long time ago when you were on.
Yeah. Actually, it was, I don't know, maybe it was about 2 months since I was an MVP or something like that. So it was really early on.
A long time ago. Like, what year was that? What year did you get awarded?
I think it was 2001 because it was it was going to be my first MVP summit.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got struck with COVID. And no, 2001, no, 2021, actually. Yeah, well, actually, I don't remember. Yeah.
We're mid-COVID by then, right? We were kind of, COVID is well underway around the world. We're still on lockdown, still no events.
Exactly. So that was going to be my first MVP summit, so it got canceled. So we had to see it online and stuff like that. But yeah, that was the year. I'm about 5 years in the MVP summit. I got my first blue ring. So it's really nice to. So that's why we had this meeting that early on.
Nice. What's your focus nowadays from a tech perspective? You know, what's top of mind for you? What are you working on? What's taking your attention in 2025?
Well, actually, when I started this, I was really focused on building apps and stuff like that. Building Power Apps and Canvas apps at that moment because there was no model-driven apps. I'm already talking like an old person. Back in my days, there were no components and stuff like that. But it was really nice at that point of time. But I grown up to be, more of an architect role because
Mm-hmm.
I'm the manager of the Power Apps team or the business apps teams at Intelequia, the company I work for. And I play more a role of architecture. Let's build this solution. So we're going to need this infrastructure. We're going to need these services. Either is Power Platform or Azure or whatever data source or whatever that our customer is going to be using for us or in need for us. So that's the main goal right now. I'm actually working towards to AI, obviously, because everyone is working with that. So every customer is asking us to include AI in their processes and do more automations around AI. So I don't know, invoices, more intelligent process flows for these customers. So that's the idea that the solutions that we are building now are on top of that because we have many customers with many solutions, but we are improving those solutions with the inflection of AI in their processes.
Yeah, interesting. It's interesting how much AI is becoming a greater focal point now.
Yeah, and actually what I'm seeing now is that even more than before, we are actually building solutions that are not completely sealed in Power Platform. You know, that we are building interfaces, automations, and stuff like that. But we need more things from Azure or from a local API that the customer is using. They are really focused on having everything secure in their infrastructure. They don't want anything to be used to train a model or stuff like that. All those characteristics that people are fearing of AI. So we are mixing everything into these solutions that we're building. So that's really nice from my point of perspective.
You've written a book, which I find intriguing. Writing books these days. Tell us about the book. Tell us what it's called, where, and kind of Why did you write it?
Exactly. Well, actually, this was something that I don't know, an opportunity that chose. So I don't know in your way that it was at the beginning. Fact, contacted me and told me, we want you to write a book of Power Platform. In the first edition, it was strictly about Power Apps, and they told me, no, we want to build a book about Power Apps, and I was saying the same thing that you were thinking. It's a book, it's something solid, it's something static. So it's not going to be really helpful in 2 or 5 months because everything is evolving, right? So the idea is that I didn't want to replicate Microsoft Learn because Microsoft Learn
Yes.
is really useful for you to have everything up to date and every preview feature or every new feature that you will have in Power Platform, you're going to find it there. So I didn't want to do that. And they were, no, we want to do something different. We want to do something like a cookbook. And
Mm.
that's when I thought, oh, this is something different. It's like when you're building or you're posting a blog post, when you're building a blog post, you think, I want to share with people that you can do this in Power Apps. You can do this in Power BI. You can do use this trick to solve something. So in that way, that's another story because you're not telling this is Power Apps. You can use this component of the Power Platform to build user interfaces. No, not like that. If you want to use Power Apps with Power Automate, you can do this, and this. If you want to use Power Automate, you can improve the use of Power Automate by using this example, this another example. And the book is filled with tips and tricks. You can do it this way. It's going to be functioning. It's going to function correctly, but it's not going to be, I don't know, using best practices. It's not going to be performant. You want to have, I don't know, a response right away, not waiting 2 minutes for something to complete. So that's the idea of the book. And you know that saying that tells that you need to have a child, write a book, and plant a tree. So check, check, check. I will have everything done.
I love it. I've not heard that quote before. Is that a Spanish quote?
No, I think it's something Asian or something like that. I used to learn about my dad is also an author, and he told me that when I was younger. So I don't know where he picked up that, but I don't know. I know that it's something Asian or something like that, but I don't know. It fits.
I'm going to research it. So you've obviously had, with that heritage from your father, something in you that wanted to write and author a book at some point.
Yeah, well, actually, when he was writing his book about, he's more of a person, a telecommunications degree. So he was writing a book of fiber optics. So I still remember, and I still remember he making the book at late night, and I helped him by I don't know, organizing chapters or something like that, or writing something in WordStar. Oh my God, I'm too old. So well, I was helping him building the book, and I thought it was really a nice experience because you're sharing your knowledge with the people. You don't want people that to struggle with the same things that you struggle by doing something. Okay, here's a solution for that. I don't know. I think at this point of time, my biggest blog post by number of visits and stuff like that is the how to use custom fonts in Power Apps, for example.
Wow.
So
Okay.
that's something that at some point in time you will need to do that in Power Apps, and there's no actual way to do it. There was no actual way to do it at the point of time, but people, when they need to use custom fonts, they will see that blog post and they won't need to struggle as I did to do it.
Yes.
So that's the idea of this on the Power Apps Cookbook, because I wanted to provide solutions for people when they are in need to do something. I don't know, integrate Power Apps inside a Power BI reports or something like that. Sometimes there are some things that you don't even think that would be possible to integrate a Canvas app inside a Power BI report. Oh, I didn't know that you could do that. So in the book, you will find an example on how to do it. So that's the idea of the book. examples and with everything. But the downside is that the Power Platform evolves too fast. At the beginning, on the first edition, yeah, I know it was, I don't know, there was some cadence that uh, maybe 6 months or something like that, you wouldn't see a new feature or something like that. But now it's too fast. AI here, Copilot there, virtual tables to integrate the fabric, some things that are moving too fast. And that's the idea of having many editions. The third edition is the one that I wrote in October. Actually, when I was finishing that edition, the UI for Power Apps Studio to build Canvas apps changed. And I was, stop the process. I need to update the images. And it was 1 weekend updating everything because it was updated, I don't know, 1 or 2 weeks just before publishing the book. And I was, give me one weekend. I want to have it as update as I can. And I changed all the images and all the instructions because some things change the background from if it was on the right or now it's on the left or stuff like that. But I changed everything, all the images to have it as much as up to date as I could. So, well, what you can do.
Yeah. So when you wrote version 1, at a guess, because I doubt you tracked it, how long did it take you to write it? As in from when you started it, like, I'm not looking for how many hours. I'm looking for, I started it in May and I finished it in December. Kind of like, what was that time frame for writing?
I think it was about 6 months because that was the first edition. I had to gather many ideas that I have in mind because on the first month, it was not writing at all because I was, I don't know, on your quiet times, you start thinking, what can I do with Power Apps related to Power BI? What can I do with Power Apps related to, I don't know, at that point of time, the beginning of model-driven apps. And I was building and writing the titles of each recipe. And I was, okay, I can do this. I can do this example with maps. And then Google Maps started asking for money to use the API. So I need to find a cheaper version or a free version so people can use it on the book. So those kind of things are rolling in my mind. So even when I wanted to use the camera controls to detect something that is on the screen, but stuff like that. I don't know. You are trying to use real life examples, and I was like doing that on the first month to see what can I bring to the book. And then I think it was 6 or 7 months, and then the updates may take, I don't know, every edition takes about 4 months because you are checking that everything checks out as still, and you also add more recipes because we are now in the world of AI. We need to improve and need to do something like that. But also in Power Apps or in Power Platform, Copilot is still in the early years. It's not really helping you build apps. For example, in the case of Canvas apps, but now it's helping a lot in the Plan Designer. So those are things that are still moving. These pieces are still moving, and I want this to settle down a little bit to focus on that for I don't know, maybe the fourth edition or something like that.
Wow. Now, tell me, like, I've just brought it up on Amazon so I can see a bit more about it. When you say it's like a cookbook, is it like, my mum's cookbook, which had these are going to be cakes and these are the ingredients and this is what it's going to do and this is the steps to do it. Like, this is mix these ingredients and you're going to get this.
Exactly. Actually, for this edition, I wanted to do something funny. The first chapter is like when you're, I don't know, whenever you are cooking, you need to have some basics. You need to make some sauce, and you need to, I don't know, cut the onions and stuff like that. So the first chapter is telling you exactly that. For everything that we're going to do in the book, we are going to start using solutions. We are going to prepare environments. We are going to, I don't know, connect to SharePoint or something like that. So everything is on the first chapter. So you know what we are going to do with this, and these are going to be the examples. remember that we created a solution. Refer to the first chapter that is going to tell you how to create that solution, and then start from there and let's start this component and this other component and stuff like that. So I thought it was really fun because it's like an actual recipe book. The first, how to make a sauce, how to make this. And then when you have the basics, you can start preparing your food.
I love it. I love it. And correct me if I'm wrong, but 392 recipes in the recent one?
Oh, I haven't counted, but
As in that's what it's showing in the table of contents. 392 recipes. That's amazing. Like this is not a small undertaking.
well, actually, it's not every page is not a recipe because the recipes are some of them are really extensive, but I haven't counted them. But I don't know, maybe if 60 or more recipes in the book because
Okay.
for example, if I wanted to tell you how to use data flows in your solutions to get information from an API, that's one of the examples that you will see there, and then how to prepare that data to insert that into Dataverse, I'm going to show you with some screenshots how to use data flows, what you're going to get when you connect to the API, and stuff like that. So the recipes are not each page is a recipe because they are really complex, but I haven't counted them, but maybe around 60 or something like that.
Wow. It is amazing. Who is the technical reviewer?
Well, the first and second edition, it was Rebecca. You know Rebecca?
From the Netherlands?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the third edition, it is Ives. I don't exactly remember his last name, but it changed over time because Rebecca had some personal stuff that she needed to complete, and the book took a little longer for her to review, so she couldn't make it at the third edition. Actually, that's one of my I always request her to do the every edition. If I'm going to do the second edition, okay, I can do it. I will do it. But if Rebecca is a technical reviewer, because she's awesome. She really knows how to review a book. She's not with I don't know. You need to say this in another way. No, the technical part. Maybe you need to improve this because it might get confusing for the reader or stuff like that. And she's really good. So I always say, if I'm doing the book, she needs to be the technical reviewer. But Ives is really good as well.
So, you were saying in your quiet time and stuff, and you start thinking of recipes and use cases and things like that. I want to kind of drill in a little bit to your process. Do you start with like sticky notes? And I'm really probably going back, not the revisions, but that first chomp at it. How did you go, okay, there's going to be X number of recipes. It's going to be, and these are the things that I'm going to focus on. Like, how do you decide that? And what is your process? Do you use like some type of mind map software, or are you doing it all digitally, or are you doing it in physical world? How does it work for you?
Rolling out Microsoft 365 Copilot licenses isn't enough. You need an adoption plan to get people using it well. In our new book, published by Microsoft, we offer a practical guide to successful Copilot adoption. Many leaders believe in the why of Copilot and AI, but they need guidance on how, from practical frameworks to enabling champions and measuring impact. Get your copy of Microsoft 365 Copilot adoption now from Amazon or find a link in the show notes.
Well, you're going to laugh because my quiet times and my best times or my best ideas comes from the shower.
Yeah, I believe it.
So every time I get to the shower, it's like this. I don't know. There must be a way to solve this issue or bring this gap together or something like that. And I say, if I do this and this and this and this, and then I get out of the shower really quickly and start taking notes. Whatever that I have on nearby, maybe the phone or whatever, I take notes as how to solve this, and I build the title. how to solve the integration with API, the local APIs with, I don't know, with data drivers and stuff. And something real easy that helps me remember that time when I got the idea. The second quiet time is when I walk my dog. So when I'm walking with my dog, I start thinking as well and stuff like that. Some people use their phones while walking. I start making ideas or something like that. And then I start using, actually, I was using really much OneNote, and I start typing each page, and then I get some links that support my idea. Okay, this is going to be useful. You're going to need a license for that. Maybe there's a workaround to solve the licensing issue, and start adding links, and notes. Be careful with this. Take this into account. This needs to be but really messy, actually. But then when I start doing the recipe, I start organizing everything. So this is going to be the first part, and then I create a new page and start. This is going to be the first part. I need to include some tips here, some tips there. I refer to another recipe or something like that. And that's actually the same thing that I do when I'm building a session for an event. It's the same. Actually, the last one was on a plane for the Global Azure that I'm going to be on this Saturday. How can Azure help me build better Power Platform solutions, but not in the actual way that everyone thinks, that is on the technical side, but in the functional side. And so that gave me an idea, and I started writing on the phone, right on the plane. So I have the notes to build the actual draft of the session.
I like it.
It's really messy, but it works.
Yeah. And so you obviously, as you complete each chapter, you submit it up to a SharePoint site with Packet. They then go through a triage process of assigning it to the tech reviewer of that chapter, and then they will go through their own editors, right, looking for grammar, formatting, all that type of stuff.
Yeah, actually, it's a really tough process because I get the book there. The first reviewers start, I don't know, even the quality of the images and stuff like that. I'm really thoughtful about the images that I put on the book because I don't know. I put the actual border. I focus on exactly what you need to see on the screen, not to get around on everything else. So we need to be really sure that the images are highest quality possible, because in the printed book you need to have higher quality images and stuff like that. But the grammar and stuff like that, actually, yeah, they check with me. Do you think that this might sound, I don't know, confusing? Can we do it like this? This an actual process, bi-directional process with them. And then the technical reviewer is the one that this checks out. Actually, what I remember from Rebecca is that she builds every actual recipe on her environment to see if it checks out. And I got an issue with this, and that's when you're building the recipe. Maybe, I don't know, I already had the connection to SharePoint, so it's not going to pop up to ask me for a SharePoint. I forgot that. So I start from scratch and include the tips that she tells me, for example. And they did the same.
So from the reviews are all finished to the book being published, what time frame between that?
That's really fast. That's about, I think, a month, because they are not waiting for the whole chapters to be checked out. So I deliver the chapter 1. I'm starting with the chapter 2, just to give you an example. And in the middle of chapter 2, they start telling me stuff about chapter 1. So I'm in the middle of many chapters at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And once I'm in, I don't know, chapter 3 or 4, chapter 1 is already done. And that's how it works. Some chapters are more complex than others. I actually do remember all the time that chapter Power Apps Everywhere is one of the chapters that tries to include Power Apps, as the name implies, everywhere, in Teams, in Power BI, inside a model-driven app, a Canvas, for example, and stuff like that. Trying to put Power Apps in every possible way, even in SharePoint. So that's the most extensive one. So that's the one that takes, I don't know, maybe that's the one that finished at the end. Because maybe I'm at the last chapter and the chapter 7 is still under review because there's so much text on it.
That's so interesting. As we draw to a close, what's your advice to other aspiring tech authors?
Well, actually, I think that having this possibility to build a book about something that is evolving, doing as a recipe book or another example that maybe examples but I think it's the best solution so far because everyone will see a video, will see Microsoft Learn or something like that on YouTube or whatever. But if you're trying to help people with something specific, it's best to use it by example, use case scenarios. I have a book about some other author about Power Platform architecture. That's another case because Power Platform architecture is a base for everything. It's not actually evolving. You need to focus on this and this and these concepts before building a solution or having something that to bring to your customers. So that's one way to do a book. But if you want to do something else, use case scenarios, examples, best practices, and stuff like that, because that's what I think people need. Not only viewing a YouTube video, okay, this is, I put a button here and it works. Okay, no, but you're doing everything in your solution correctly, not by also using only that button, because the person that is going to put the video is going to actually solve that issue. He or she doesn't know all the things that you have on your solution. Maybe you're connecting to SharePoint and you're hitting delegation and stuff like that. They are not aware of that. So you need to have a good baseline to start working with Power Platform. So I think for technical writers, use case scenarios, best practice and stuff like that, because people really need that.
Yeah, I like it. It's what feedback have you had about the book?
Well, actually, it's mixed. Feedback from the book.
Yep.
Many of them is really good. I haven't seen that another bad review. Well, some comments on Amazon and stuff like that. But there are so many funny stories around the book because there was a person on the Biz Summit event that we organized here in Spain on October. There was someone that met me and told me, "Do you know that I bought a book many years ago that was really good about Power Apps? And once I was looking at the book, oh my God, this is Eickhel." I don't know. It's something like that. They don't think that you are going to be in that world, but I don't know. From people that tells me, they always tell me that some example on the book really help them to build another solution. I wanted to do that something, and they saw a particular example that helped them solve an issue on a solution or something that they were building for customers. So that's the best takeaway that I can get from the book. If that helped you in any way, even a recipe alone, for me, it checks out.
Nice. Eickhel, thank you so much for coming on the show and telling your story.
Thank you, Mark.
Hey, thanks for listening. I'm your host, Business Application MVP, Mark Smith, otherwise known as the NZ365 Guy. If there's a guest you'd like to see on the show, please message me on LinkedIn. If you want to be a supporter of the show, please check out buymeacoffee.com/NZ365 Guy. Stay safe out there and shoot for the stars.